Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about
social pressures of winter break and how we can address this.
Welcome to the Mommy Life Squad podcast, where we talk about
everything women want to hear about,
which may get controversial,
but definitely inspirational, so stay tuned. Okay, so winter break is coming up here.
When is it? January 21st?
Right.
Around?
Yeah, it's coming up real soon in LA and in the East Coast. I think like Yeshiva, it's called Yeshiva Break Week.
It's so funny. I never knew what Yeshiva Break was.
By the way, it's on Wikipedia. Is it Wikipedia or Wikipedia? You could look it up. It's a real thing.
I didn't even know what Yeshiva Break was because I don't have brothers. So we didn't call it Yeshiva Break. It was called Winter Break.
No, it's like legit. Like schools are off and yeshivas are off and boys go out of the freezer. Is that what they do?
And everyone goes to Florida.
Right. So speaking of that, actually, I'm from LA. Tikva's from Baltimore. And we were schmoozing about this. And I was like, you know, in LA, we didn't really have a whole week off that we had to run away anywhere to.
Well, it happens to be in Baltimore, we didn't either. We didn't have, first of all, we had 3 days off. I think it was Wednesday, Thursday, or maybe it was Thursday, Friday, Shabbat, Monday.
Okay, but
I think that's what it was.
But people still went away?
Well, because, it was cold. I mean, we wouldn't. A lot of my friends would go to Florida, but Florida was where everyone would go, or to their grandparents' house. Okay. That's literally what it was.
But stay away, like a stay away vacation, not like a visit.
No, let's say if their grandparents lived in New Jersey, or if they're
like a drive away.
A drive away, yeah. We would come to LA a lot because when I was an older, a teenager, because my grandparents moved from Iran here, so we'd come visit them and my aunt. So then we would come winter break to California. But that was considered a crazy trip. That was going to California, but we were just visiting family.
Right. Okay, so the reason why we thought this was a good topic is because we've noticed that over the years, it's changed so much with our own children. So maybe I went to the park if we got lucky. We didn't do anything. So we actually called a friend. I called a friend from back in the years and I'm like, do you remember doing anything? Cause she's in a different circle. Her parents were affiliated with other groups, whatever. So I wanted to know what she did. And she's like, no, we didn't do any of that because we lived in LA. So we had good weather. The people who were running away not running away, but they were going on vacation in the East Coast or because they were running away from bad weather, right?
Yeah. It was snowing, raining, cold, freezing. Right. So you want to to escape the freezingness and go to the warmth. Happens to be though, now kids have expectations. This is what we're getting at.
Yeah.
Is kids have expectations for these vacations because all their friends are doing it. They're going to Cabo, Cancun, Hawaii, Israel, crazy vacations. And it's just become an expectation for winter break.
Right. So
which wasn't there before, by the way. It really wasn't there before.
Right. So the new norm now is to fly somewhere. And you have to fly somewhere grand. So we've been going to Florida, but now my kids are oh, we've already been there. Or for sure, San Diego, which is a 2-hour drive away. That's not enough. So
happens to be also, by the way, when I moved here from Baltimore, I moved to LA, and you don't understand. Coming from the East Coast, California has so much to do. It's you're living in vacation land. You just drive 30 minutes away and you're by Palm Springs, whatever. Palm Springs is an hour away, but
we have Big Bear, we have Palm Springs,
you have the snow, you have everything. You have the snow, you have the hot weather, a half an hour away, 45 minutes away. It's
so
crazy.
that proves our point even more because it used to be growing up exactly. We live in California, we have beautiful weather, we have palm trees all around us, we have beautiful vacation spots within hours, just 2 hours away.
Crazy resorts. I was just in, when was I? It was Pesach. Yeah. I was in the East Coast. We were looking for a hotel to go to because I think we were going to the mall. What's it called? The American Dream Mall.
Mall, yeah.
So we were going there and we were looking for a hotel local, and all of them compared to LA hotels, resorts, were Nebuch.
Oh.
And even if you were paying a lot of money, it didn't matter. They didn't have these grand 7 pools and every resort we go to, they have a minimum of 3 pools. Just that's the norm here because it's vacation village, I guess.
Right.
People come here to vacation.
Right. So I guess that really does prove our point even more because even today, even in LA, we're still going on these grand vacations. So this is a problem.
Yeah.
And that's what we're getting at. So this is a problem. But this problem seeps into every aspect of life. And I think we discussed this in another podcast, right? This is an inherent problem because of social pressures. our kids are surrounded by everybody doing something. So like, but something is not enough. It has to be something extra. So how are we supposed to tell our children that we are happy with what we do? Or even if like we're just taking them, I mean, your kids are younger, so they might.
But even my kids drove me crazy. I had a baby in the summer. They drove me crazy. We didn't go on vacation. We didn't do anything. We didn't do anything. Even though we did like a 2-night getaway, like in a hotel, but like that was not enough for them. It was like, we didn't fly. We didn't do anything. And my kids are like younger. They're all 7 and under. Like,
wow. Yeah.
And the fact that they actually realized that actually, so my kids actually recently, we travel with points a lot. So we end up getting really nice hotels. And I feel like all Jews do this. Like they get points.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone does uses points. So you get like really nice hotels with points. And it comes out like nothing. So, so my kids, the other time we went to like a hotel, and it wasn't as nice as our usual hotels that we go to. And then my daughter comes to me and she goes, I don't understand. Like, where's the golf cart? Like, why isn't the golf cart driving us to the pool? And me and my husband woke up. We're like,
oh my God,
wait,
we spoiled them.
Yeah, we didn't have this growing up. Like, we
Right.
would stay at the Red Roof Inn.
Like $40 motel a night. Yeah. Yeah,
it's
that's
just like
the new norm.
Yeah,
so,
so
like,
then
it's
we're
what
like,
she's used to.
Yeah, and we're like, we have to like tone it down because they're just
Yeah.
getting used to this reality of like,
Right.
this is what they need.
Totally. And actually last year, my baby, do you remember? My baby was 2 weeks old by winter break. And I'm like,
yeah.
oh my goodness, I'm giving birth at the wrong time. My kids are going to eat me up alive. And everyone's like, what do you mean? You're going to be home. Why are you asking where you're going to go? I'm like, no, there's no way. There's absolutely no way I could be home with my 6 kids, Baruch Hashem, for a full week. There's no way. So we ended up going to San Diego. And I remember my kids actually, like in normal circumstances without a newborn baby, I think they would have given me a hard time. But when we went there, first of all, the whole Jewish world goes at that time. So it was really nice for them. All their friends were there. But I remember them being very happy that we at least got to go somewhere. So Baruch Hashem, at least they knew that like, okay, Mom, we just had a baby. We can't fly anywhere. And that was it. But
I remember Rena was crazy. I'm like, Rena, you just literally had a baby.
but
It was
what if-
2 weeks. It wasn't even
but
2 weeks. It was like a week.
it was like, yeah, she was like a little, like 10 days.
It
like
was
something
crazy.
Like that.
I'm like,
but imagine
yeah,
what I would have done
understand.
at home.
I get it. I was just like shocked. I'm like, wow.
How am I going to entertain? Now, in a hotel, it was so beautiful, but my kids got to like go outside and play and go to the pool or whatever it is.
Yeah, and they're
Like,
out of your hair.
Yeah, it was so amazing. But yeah, it was weird that I had a little newborn and everyone was like, really, like, why are you here with your newborn? But it was so nice. And honestly, if I could do that again and again, that would be like the most cost efficient.
I'll tell you what the best vacation is for me. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
The best vacation for me is, and I feel like a lot of moms can relate to this,
Oh, I know.
is going to an all-inclusive hotel
Yes,
that
yes.
has everything on the hotel, like Paradise Point. I told
Yes,
you that.
you told me about
It has everything on the hotel, and this would be like a huge plus is kosher food also. Like,
And your kids don't even get tired of that same place you keep going to.
no, because we don't keep going there actually.
Oh, okay.
We've been there like twice. But and they had like everything. They had bike riding, boating, like everything. There's a beach all around it. There was like just so much to do on the hotel. And like you felt like there was like no pressure to run out, find activities,
Okay.
do other things. Like maybe one of the days we went to like SeaWorld or something, but the rest of the time we just stayed in, and it was just so nice. But I like the biggest plus would be if I had a kosher restaurant inside, and then that would like
Really?
check off all the boxes.
Right.
So now whenever I go any time I want to go away for winter break, I really look into if there's kosher restaurants because it really makes a difference for me.
Huge difference. Totally. I
It
hear
changes
that.
the whole experience. Like I don't want to be eating deli sandwiches and
Yeah,
tuna sandwiches
Tuna cans.
the whole time.
Right. That's totally true. I'm happy that your kids were just like happy with that. I don't know if my kids would. I don't know if I would want that though. But
I'm curious if my kids would be now. I'm curious. This was like 2 years ago, but I don't know if it was for winter break. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know if now they would be happy with that. Mm-hmm. But it's just such a nice place. It's like my happy place.
Right. Okay. So what can we offer as our? Before we get into the solution, I'm just thinking like first of all we like our podcast to have some sort of like tochen to it, so we're not just like babbling here. We want you to be able to get something out of every podcast. So whenever we present this issue or problem or anything, we try to do some research. We'll talk to experts or whatever. We'll give our little 2 cents just to help you guys out too. But before we get into that, what about traveling with family? I know we spoke about that. So like, do you believe, like, I know my husband's very into like, it's family
or
time.
friends, I guess. Like you mean traveling with other people.
Well, yeah, friends, I wasn't even going to get there, but you said you've done that before.
Yeah. I mean, that was family, but yeah.
Family, yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. So I'm curious to hear what you guys have to
I think
say
there's
about
pros and cons. Like, I really think there's like pros and cons,
because it
right?
keeps your kids busy.
Right. But then again, you're taking away, the con is like you're taking away from family time. Like,
Yeah.
And also it's like you're doing everything based on someone else's schedule also. As opposed to when you go alone, like let's say you're just tired and you want to go swimming.
Yeah.
And the other people want to go other places. Then you're like, you feel this pressure to go out. Meanwhile, you would have been happy in the hotel.
But can I dare to say the other problems that come up with going?
Yeah,
Is that not for this conversation?
No, I mean,
Like I'm thinking like vacation is a very relaxing, intimate time.
yeah.
So that could obviously get into problematic issues, right? So like we get very comfortable with other people, especially if you're spending a whole week with them. And I know people do Airbnbs with other families.
Right.
So I've never done it.
I think it really depends on the dynamics of the family, like the age differences, and there's a lot of other factors. If you have a big family with a lot of kids, like, and it's not just like one kid, or I think it really makes a difference.
It does make a difference, right? But I see
Like if both of you have 6 kids, and they're teenagers, like it's so different than when you have 2 little toddlers. It's very different.
because they end up sleeping earlier. And
They sleep earlier, and there's more chill time. Your older kids are there. You have to be careful what you say.
Okay. That's
You have to be careful. Like they're watching everything, they're observing you, and they're there. It's like another person in the house. It's very different.
But then there's another component about like dress. So like vacation, like can be a little bit challenging to be wearing stockings or whatever the whole time, or like I don't know, different things.
People get more lax on vacation. That's a known fact.
Like,
Okay.
Yeah. So that's why I feel like it could. I mean, don't kill us for saying this, but I feel like it could be more of a problem.
Yeah.
Even with your own siblings, like I'm so scared we're gonna get bad feedback about this, but even with your own siblings, like okay, it happens to be that my husband likes to just vacation with just the family because the one time a year that you really get to like stop and unwind for a whole week, and that's such a sacred, important time. The kids will remember this forever and ever. So if you're already sharing that time with other families, you're losing that time with your spouse, you're losing that time with your kids, you're losing that time to connect in general. So it is very important, but on the side note, it's also it could be a sneeze factor. I don't know.
Hello, this cricket is driving me crazy. Rena has a cricket in her house.
You still hear it?
I feel like they hear it in the podcast.
Do you guys hear it? Let us know.
I can't even think straight.
Okay. Yeah, it's in the background there. So we actually spoke with Hani Heyman, who is an expert here in LA, a chinuch expert, and we asked her about this, like this new situation that we have. It's not new. I mean, it's evolved over time, but it's gotten worse. And we wanted her input. What did she tell us?
So it's just an expectation from kids, right?
Right.
So
but she was saying it's like it's not like a solution for this one time.
Right.
It's like it really hits every area of life.
And I feel like we addressed this before in our other podcast when
Right.
we spoke about camps and social pressures of camp.
Right.
And other thing. What was it? It was another podcast. But
Right.
in general, like you have to change the way that.
Well, can we change anything? I don't even think we can. I find it sometimes. I find like a lot of times we'll read in like different publications. I mean, I'll see that like it'll say like certain things about like stop raising the bar with how we make our events, our bar mitzvahs, our weddings, or this, or they're all at a new scale, or going away on vacation has gone up to the next level. Like, why are we making everything like so extra, right? And I'm always like, there's no solution because we can't change the whole world, right? Like, as long as there's going to be, unless I always tell my husband this. I'm like, why doesn't a rabbi, like a Gadol Hador, come up with a takana? You are not allowed to go to Mexico for winter break. Like, very, very.
But let me tell you,
I'll tell you,
because some people really like to travel, and then you telling me that I can't the way I should spend my money.
No. Meaning
like,
you could travel.
I do want to travel. I want to go to.
You could travel
because I would love to go to all these places, but I had no interest because my kids
right.
are little.
I guess this is like it's a gray area, and no rabbi is going to say that. Same thing with Pesach programs. Like, why don't rabbis say Pesach programs are not allowed? But they can't. It's like it's been around for years, and it's getting more and more extra over the years, right?
Yeah, everything's gotten way more extra. Everything, weddings, bar mitzvahs.
So that's why I kind of feel like this whole topic is so pointless, almost because
no, but it's like teaching your kids that even
like having an awareness of it, right?
No, but it's teaching your kids that everything seems greener on the other side, even though, like, you could be in the best vacation. and you're looking on social media, you're looking anywhere else and seeing other people's pictures on WhatsApp of where they're going, it's always going to look more fun than where you are. Like,
okay, so we're training our kids to just be happy with where they're at.
Where they're at, and teaching them the value of that. I mean, listen, I don't have older kids, and you would probably know better than me. But telling them, like, when they say, oh, it's not fair, our friends are going to Hawaii, or our friends are going to somewhere cooler. It's not fair. Why are we going to San Diego?
By the way, that does come with maturity, because I know my older two kids are at a point in life where we will tell them this is what we're doing this year. And they would, I mean, are they going to be excited about it? No, not necessarily. But they understand it more. Like, as they get older, I think
it comes with explaining it. It's not like we're going here and that's that. It's also explaining it to them. It's like, I was listening to the Meaningful Minute podcast, and they actually had someone come on who spoke about parenting and just being, like, very transparent with your kids and explaining it to them, being like, instead of, no, this is what we're doing and that's it, like, why are you complaining? It's explaining it to them, be like, okay, this year we're going to San Diego just because we just had a baby, for example. This year we had a baby, but, like, it doesn't mean in the future we won't go there, or it doesn't mean, like, it's, and also, like, we don't have to do what everyone else does. We're going to have so much fun just spending time as family together. Is there something that you want to do in San Diego that you can choose that's going to make it fun for you?
So I'm curious to know, and let me know what you think about this. Like, we've talked about the expectations for our kids have gone up. What about for us? Would I be happy? Would I be happy going to San Diego?
That's interesting.
Yeah, I would not be happy. I would not be. I don't want to, like, I think it's convenient. So, yeah, but I love seeing new places. So, but then again,
so that's what this comes down to. It comes down to, why were we going, like, as a family? Why were we going to these fancy hotels? Because me and my husband enjoyed it. But then what are we doing to our kids? We're getting them used to something, right?
You're setting the bar high.
There's a saying. Your parents' extras become your necessity.
Oh, I never heard that.
It's a true thing. Think about it. Like,
oh, wow. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Like, a cleaning lady was extra to my parents, but it became my necessity. I feel like I need it now.
Well, okay, so hold on. Well, let's say you keep going to this Paradise Point for the rest of your life. like you're happy with it, clearly.
Well, maybe I would get sick of it too.
There you go. True. So that's my point is that if you could last for the next 5 years in the same place, would you? Or are you raising the bar for yourself?
Listen, okay, 1 minute. I was saying your parents' extras are your kids' necessities. So, for example, this is what I mean. Let's say going to the fancy hotels right now is an extra for us. It's extra. It's not necessary. I didn't grow up with it. It's extra, right?
It's extra for you.
It's extra for me.
For your kids,
so when they get older, they get married, have their own kids, it's a necessity to them because that's what they were raised with.
Exactly. Yes. Correct. Right. But this is two different things we're talking about.
That's why I'm like, I think you're confused.
That I get. I get. But my question to you, Tikva, is 5 years from now, if you're still going to Paradise Point, at what point will you be like I'm done with this place?
Well, that's like too much. Like, right, but like, okay, it's too much of the same place.
Or like somewhere surrounding something similar to that vibe. Versus, I'm talking about that versus getting on an airplane and going to Israel or Hawaii or Cancun.
Yeah, no, I'd obviously rather go and travel. I'm saying that right now in my stage of life, maybe even now my kids are older, so I do enjoy traveling. We went to Israel last year, Baruch Hashem. I was so nervous for that flight with my kids because they were little, but I realized it wasn't as scary as it was. So I would do it, but so my reality on vacations have changed.
But now that you've done that, are you thinking are you calculated in your head and you're like, we did a big vacation last year, kids, so this year, because that's what I would do with my kids.
You would say, last year we went to Israel, so this year we're going to San Diego? I don't think I would do that.
Why not? Then you are the cause of the problems that we have in our generation.
That's exactly what you're just saying.
Well, Tikva's like a million years younger than me, so she's like more of a millennial. But why not? It makes sense.
Right. You're
saying you wouldn't want it?
I don't know. I don't know if I would want it.
I think that's a healthy balance. And that's such an important skill. Not skill, but it's important mindset to teach your children. We did something big. It's kind of like I splurged on this dress. So when I want to buy a new pair of shoes, I'm going to be a little bit more budget mindful.
Right. No, right? I hear that. I do hear that.
So it's just... Yeah, that's how I would think. Just personally, that's how I would think.
So, everyone's reality is different, right? So let's say they could say, okay, for winter break, we went away to Israel last year, but Pesach, we decided to stay home and we didn't go to a program.
Right.
So winter break, we can go
So
again.
it's all relative.
It's all relative. Everyone has their own.
Right. And I think the same thing with Pesach. We went away for Pesach last year, and I already told my kids, we're going to be home for Pesach. We'll see what happens.
So we were home for the summer. We were home for Pesach. The last time we went away was winter break. So I feel like we need a trip.
Now you need it. Okay, so it is very relative.
Right.
It is very relative. But I think the whole point of this whole podcast is like how we train our kids, how we model this for ourselves, and we're adults. And it's very, very easy for us, even as adults, to be like, oh, I wish I can go there, or I want to do this, or I want, and just get carried away with it.
Right.
But if we teach our kids, no, we are happy with where we're going this year, and we don't have to do something extra every year, then we're passing on such a strong, powerful message to our kids, and they're going to pass that on to their kids. It's also like a confidence thing.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you have, I'm just curious, this is like very, whatever, do you have any like feeling of kind of like, oh, maybe we shouldn't be doing such a big vacation this year because of everything going on in Israel? Because that definitely goes through onto my head. Mm-hmm. I'm like,
I think that's like always running in the back of my mind in general.
For everything that you do.
Everything, like going out to eat or whatever, like a wedding or something. Yeah. But they say that it shouldn't really like, I mean, it shouldn't really.
But do you think that's like important that we show our kids like this year we're not doing something crazy? We're not going to
sure not for your kids. I mean, they're too
my
young.
Kids are little, but let's say like older kids, to teach them, be like, listen, there's a war going on in Israel. It's our homeland. There's people like really suffering right now.
They'll be like, take us to Israel so we can see it. I don't know.
Your kids would say that? Yeah. My husband wants to go to Israel now, and I'm like, I don't know.
It's like now everybody's going, but
right.
But I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I feel like that's a hard thing to tell the children. I don't know if they're gonna. So what are we supposed to do? Sit at home and be bored? Like
no, that's not what I'm saying. But like you don't do like an extra crazy thing.
That I hear maybe like.
Right. I'm not saying sit home and stay bored. I'm not saying that.
Right. I hear that. So going back to Chani Heyman, her advice. Well, we kind of like spoke briefly about this, but her advice was really to change the entire framework.
Yeah,
of
how you parent.
Yeah, your whole foundation has to be around building self-confident kids and making sure that they totally understand that this is what our family does, and there's no looking on the other side. I mean, it's inevitable. Kids will. It's
always not looking. That's not the right thing. It's more of like
don't compare.
Don't compare.
But again, they're kids. I mean, like I was gonna give an example, but maybe I shouldn't because whatever. But like it's like that with everything. Like the kids want the latest backpack and those. What are those cups that everybody has now? Those
Stanleys.
Everyone has those Stanleys.
$50
like
cup.
My Ross cup works
it.
Just as well. My niece is like, what do you mean, Daravina? Look at my ice. This is from 3 days ago, and she shows me her like Stanley, and I'm like, okay, let me show you mine. Like mine also had ice, and it was from 2 days ago.
It's just
like
a name brand. It's like everything else in life, right?
Yeah, and it's ginormous, by the way. It's like bigger than the kids. But whatever. I just think it's really funny. But that's what I'm saying. Like this is a problem that we're always gonna have, and especially
it plays into everything. It plays into everything in life.
Like Goyim don't have this. They don't have it because they don't have communities. But we have it. Jewish people have this a lot, and and it also depends on the community. I'm really happy that we live in LA. Like I don't know, I would never be able to last in Flatbush. The pressure is just too. Is that not nice? Tikva's giving me a face.
No, I'm like
or Baltimore is very low key, very simple.
It's changed though. Everywhere's like pressure has gotten more everywhere.
Right.
It happens to be with clothing, and I said this before. Clothing, we don't have the pressure, and this is going into a whole nother topic, but I'll just finish this off.
Yeah.
Clothing, we don't have the same pressure as the East Coast, and I was talking to someone else about this, is because we don't have stores.
We don't have anything. We have nothing here.
We don't have stores.
Yeah.
We don't have Jewish stores. We don't have the pressure to dress our kids a certain way. Maybe a little bit, but not compared to like Lakewood and New York.
Yeah, it's funny because I never considered us like out of town until my husband and I were away a few weeks ago, and it was like predominantly Lakewood people. And when I said hi to people, they're like, "Where are you from?" And I'm like, "LA." And they're like, "Oh, out of town." Out of town. Like, since when were we out of town?
LA's out of town.
Like I never.
Baltimore's
thought
out of town too. New York's in town.
Of course. Right. Is that the only place?
Yeah, I guess.
Israel and New York.
If you're from New York, it's the only place.
Like that's so funny. I never thought like we're so like Hicksville, but now that I think about it, we don't have anything. We don't have anything. Shoe store. We have one
shoe store,
like a small one, and the clothes store closed down.
Yeah, really nothing.
We really don't have anything. Anyway, it's okay. It's fine. We're fine. We're surviving. But I think
it's
beauty.
better.
Yeah,
it's better because
exactly.
we don't have the pressure.
We don't have that pressure. It's this is a good conversation. I like that we don't. I'm very happy that we're in a Nebuch out of town community. Yeah, I like it.
We don't have the pressures, right? It's really nice.
Yeah, it's really nice.
No, my cousin just moved from Lakewood, and she was saying like she doesn't have the pressure to dress her kids a certain way and get them the latest shoes and stuff like that.
Right.
Which is really nice. But that's a whole nother topic. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening.
Yes, and we're planning to put this all in print eventually.
So look out for it.
Yeah, we're going to be in a publication hopefully, and
we're not going to say too much because we don't know if it's happening. So.
Yeah, hopefully it will. Anyway, stay tuned. We hope we were helpful. Until next time.
Thanks for tuning in to our Mommy Life Squad podcast.
And stay tuned for the next episode.